Hello everyone, this is Pedro Roma reporting on Masters Berlin. I have here with me Tani of Supermassive Blaze, who unfortunately lost their opening series against Acend. And so, Tani, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me. I'd first like to know how has your time in Berlin has been so far, from the hotel stay to preparation and all of the stuff of that nature.
Berlin's actually been pretty cool. All of my German friends told me not to come to Berlin because it's one of the worst cities in Germany, but it's actually fun. Yeah, we me and the team have been riding around on the electric scooters, just touring Berlin in the evenings. It's been really fun.
Yes, and so I mean, in light of that, we've seen pictures of what the setup is like, not just in separate teams camps, but also within the main stage with all of the coaches gaining perspectives on each of their players. And so
hmm
I'd like to know, what is it like for you to navigate through all of those through all of that setup, both within and outside of the main stage.
Well, on the main stage, because the head coach is actually on stage. I'm like backstage with a very similar setup, and I can just switch through all the player cams and everything. But anything I need to say to the team, I say through him. So that's a little bit annoying, especially during our tactical pauses, because I have to say it to him. He has to process it and like translate it in his head to Turkish, and then he has to say it to the rest of the team, which takes up a bit of extra time, to be honest. But at the hotel, it's fine. It's just basically a bedroom has been turned into a prac room, which is interesting.
Mm-hmm. And so, now looking into the game, you've had a pretty rough first map, and then you guys then recovered with that slight turnaround from 0-5 down to 7-5 for the
hmm
first half. And so, I'd like to know when how did that stretch eventually go wrong in the second half of that map, in which you guys then fell to Ascend and dropped the series.
we just started making like little smaller mistakes, which Ascend were really good at punishing. Things like not trading when we're pushing B lobby, or just in general, there's just a lot of little mistakes we made, which we're going to review basically as soon as we get back to the hotel. So that should be fun.
I think one of the rounds that essentially mm, encapsulates or um, makes up the entire round is that one round four loss back in Ascent, in which the team had a sizable lead against Ascent, and then eventually couldn't plant that spike within the A site, and then instead of opting for that, they went to find that lone Ascent player. And so, um, were those the
Yeah, that
kind
was
of mistakes that that you identified as one of the major problems that you saw?
yeah, that round is gonna stick with me for a while because we were 3-2 up, especially on an eco. We had retrieved some good guns, and then we even had all of A site, and then we decided to just go B where we have no info. So it was a bit. I don't know what the decision making was about that, and I need to talk to the team as to exactly what they were thinking there because that needs to be fixed ASAP.
Hmm. Okay, and so looking into the team's participation as a whole, you're representing Turkey within the EMEA of a region that is sending its first team to an international tournament for the first time. And so I'd like to know, what has it been like to be that one representative of Turkey, and to represent all of those fans, and to also participate in this tournament.
I mean, it's been insane. The Turkish fans are just absolutely crazy. And as the other teams went out, like BBL, Oxygen, Footballist, we got all of their fans as soon as we qualified. So it's been yeah, pretty cool. There was actually a fan who flew all the way from Istanbul to Berlin, um, just to meet the team and everything, but he can't watch the games because there's no audience allowed, so it sucks a bit for him. But that level of dedication is just crazy.
And it's very surprising considering that Valorant is an FPS kind of type of shooter, and that those kinds of games have not really struck the chord well historically to Turkey. And so, I mean, for this to happen with Valorant, it's such an eye opener. And so, what does this mean for this type of participation that can then grow that popularity of Valorant even further to the folks in Turkey?
I mean, from Gambit and us qualifying, I hope that Riot sees that having EMEA bunched together isn't actually the best option going into the future. And I actually just really hope that we can always have a Turkish team and always have a CIS team at every major. So like give them their own individual slots.
That is one aspect that I've been looking into because, as you mentioned, there's been debate about whether different regions should be bunched up together, as you mentioned with CIS, Turkey, and Europe.
Mhm.
And so, do you feel that this sort of sentiment of possible separation is existing not just in your team but in other teams within Turkey?
Um, I would hope so. I know the CIS region is a little bit like that because you have Gambit right at the top, but there's also other teams who really want to go like Navi, Singularity, Fours, but just because they aren't Gambit's level doesn't mean they aren't capable of beating many of the teams here,
Hmm.
like from the other regions who do have their own qualifiers. And I'm sure it's going to be the exact same mentality in Turkey, where like if Oxygen didn't make it through EMEA, maybe they would have still beaten, Crew or Paper X or whoever, whatever team it might be here.
Hmm. And so, like, just for out of speculation, do you think um these different regions, CIS and Turkey, should receive like at least one or two spots within next year, possibly?
Yeah, I mean, if it's similar to this year where it's 4 EMEA slots, I would like to see like 2 EU, one CIS, one Turkey. That kind of makes sense to me. And yeah, I hope that's the case next year. Because Riot's been pretty good at taking feedback, but I also get that they can't just change up their whole schedule because people are saying so like halfway through it.
Hmm. And so, now looking into you, you're now looking into your trajectory as a coach. Since starting in Valorant, everybody knows the story about you being in Heretics and then moving
Mm-hmm.
on to OG for a little while before eventually joining SMB. And so, I mean, going from being one of the best teams in EU for stage one and then to transfer over to OG, I'd like to know what were some of the aspects that you've learned during those two stints with different teams that you are now putting into use in Turkey and in SMB.
Um, I mean, I wouldn't say I learned much at OG because the team just had a very like fundamentally different style from what I thought would progress the team. Um, I'd say we use a lot of the stuff from Heretics on SMB because, well, with me and Para there, we do think quite like the old Heretics team. Um, we even use like some of the old setups that we had uh, back on the original roster, and that's basically all we brought to it. Apart from that, it's a completely new team, so you have to adjust everything to your current teammates. You can't just copy paste tactics or comps or anything from older rosters.
All right. Um, Once again, Tani, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me. We're almost out of time with this interview. Do you have any final words to share with anyone who will be listening slash reading slash watching this?
I mean, thank you for all the support. Like, I've actually got so much support recently, not only from Turkish fans, but also from like the general like Spanish community and the European fans. Like not only for our team, but like me personally, which I haven't really experienced before. Like in Overwatch, I didn't have that sort of following, but it's really cool to see people supporting you actively on like different platforms and hoping you're doing well, not only just you as a team.
All right, that has been Tani from SMB. I've been Pedro Romero, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.
Thank you.